Hey Ocean Crew, welcome to my channel. My name is Karen and I'm from Ocean Chicks Films. This month for Final Girls of Horror, we're gonna look at monster movies. We're really excited about that. So for this first week, we're all gonna take a look at the classic Japanese film from 1964, Mothra versus Godzilla. I mean, you can't beat a Godzilla movie. I think anytime I think of monster movies, the first thing that comes to mind is Godzilla. It's directed by Ishiro Honda, and it's one of my favorites. I love Mothra too. This flashes me back to my childhood. When I was a kid, going to my grandmother's house on a Sunday for dinner, and on the TV, I swear, it was always Godzilla movies. As soon as I saw it, it just flashed me back and all the memories came back. I don't think you ever forget these movies once you watch them. And then later on, I was really fortunate to be able to go to a big screening of it at my university in the Student Union building on a Saturday night movie night, and watch it again. And it was so much fun then too, so I'm really glad to be revisiting it now. There's always these stormy oceans and really dramatic acting, and then this weird juxtaposition of creatures or people against the landscape that makes it so amazing. It's such a beautiful thing to watch. I love that there's all these social statements in it too. There's always corporations and, the average people and the rebels that fight against causes like the environment, like the animals, like the saving the people. I find that really cool too. The monsters are always really fun too. They're very stylized and you're supposed to be scared of them, and you are for parts of it, but then you can't help but rooting for them in the end. The musical scores are always like nothing else. They're very dramatic and very effective. There's always a plot about a monster that wants to destroy everything, and the people frantically coming together to create this grandiose plan to save the day. There's always triumph and tragedy in the end. It's so much fun. This film begins with this giant egg, massive giant egg, that's found by a whole whack of people that are on the beach, and it's in the ocean just off of the coast. And they find this egg, and then there's researchers thrown into the mix, and everybody's frantically trying to figure out what to do about this egg. And of course the corporations get involved too, and people are thinking, how can we capitalize on it by, keeping it, and as it's going to hatch, charging admission for people to see it, and they're fighting over who's going to own it and what's the right thing to do. All of the worst greediness in people comes out, and it's probably something that if this happened today, it would be like that also. And then these two tiny miniature, like really tiny female twins come into the picture, and they're asking for their egg back. It's really quirky. They do lots of singing together, and they're fighting for this egg. So these two priestesses or fairies were introduced to us in the 1961 film about Mothra, and they're there to speak for Mothra. So they do lots of talking. You get to hear through them what's going on. And what it seems is that Mothra is an adult and has had this egg, and so Mothra's close to being at that stage where she will die because she's lived her lifespan, and so they're fighting for the egg so that her species can carry on, and everything has kind of gotten into a big mess. So Mothra laid this egg under the water to protect it until it was hatched, but the Happy Corporation is fighting them for it now. Now the Shobijin, I hope I'm saying that right, are the two little fairies. They explain that while Mothra is really good, the baby that's in the egg is going to hatch, and it's going to devour and eat everything in its way and be very destructive, so it's very dangerous. The juxtaposition of these little tiny women is so cool against the background and the people, and they are played by Emi and Yumi Ito. I want to look into them more because I think that's really good. I saw something online that one of the twins in real life died, so that's pretty sad, but I'd really love to look into that more because they're a really fun part of it. As a kid, I probably would have been a little creeped out by them, but as an adult, I find them really beautiful and refreshing. Mothra is a fictional monster or kaiju, as popular as Godzilla, I would say, made up of like a larva and a moth kind of crossed together. Very colorful and very beautiful. It's really cool. And of course, you probably know, like the Godzilla and the Mothra and the other monsters, they're done by puppets, and then they sort of have the background screen playing to to put them both together to make it look like it's real when it's not. Even though it has a very stylized kind of look to it, it's pretty cool though. So the island people, who are very peaceful, protect Mothra, and Mothra protects them. And of course Mothra is protecting her baby because she knows she's going to die, and she has to keep that kind of cycle going. So Godzilla rises up and comes to attack and kill Mothra, but Mothra is near the end of her life anyway, so she fights him to the death to protect her egg. Plot twist, 2 babies in the egg. So there's a boy and a girl. There's a Mothra Leo, which is the boy, and a baby Mothra, which is the girl. It's very sad when Mothra dies. I didn't want Mothra to die, but then her babies carry on, and you know they're going to rise up and kick some ass. And then the big fight ensues, and the fights in these movies are always really incredible. There's lots of explosions and planes and tanks and bombs and fire and electrocutions and all that kind of crazy stuff, and people are running and screaming like mad, and they're always really, really fun, but you can never kill Godzilla. Never happens. So Godzilla is this giant sea creature type monster that was made that way by radiation. And he's fictitious, of course, and kaiju. He's been around in movies since 1954, and he's still going strong. I mean, there are comic books, there's products, there's other movie spin-offs. There's been like 32 movies made by Japan and 4 made in Hollywood. And it's not stopping. I mean, I think there will always be those kinds of movies being made. Godzilla is this giant creature that towers over all the buildings and the people. It makes everybody run in fear, and he has this very distinctive screech that he makes as well. So like I said, he originated in 1954 in Japan, where they made the first movie of him there. But then in 1956, America took over a bit and made a film of him called Godzilla, King of the Monsters. So Godzilla is this enormous prehistoric sea monster awakened by the nuclear bombs, so the radiation from them, coming from Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And he's kind of a, political statement on that of wartime. So he started out as a metaphor for nuclear weapons, but then in later films he became kind of a hero for the people. And because of the popularity, there were many supporting characters that were introduced over the years, like Rodan, Gigan, Mothra, that kind of thing. It's really fun if you get into it and you start watching them. They're kind of nice to have. They're the kind of film, too, that you can kind of watch in the background and not have to focus too much on. But they're really fun. And, there's also crossovers with King Kong, which are really incredible, too. I love King Kong as well. So in this film, Mothra versus Godzilla, Mothra dies of old age basically and fighting too hard to try to tackle Godzilla. The babies are born, there's 2 of them, twins, and they are pissed that their mom is killed by Godzilla. So there's this island with a bunch of school kids that are on it, and the people are worried they have to get to them before Godzilla gets to them. So the larvae travel through the ocean to get to Godzilla, who's just walking through it. And they shoot out these silk like web, and they cocoon him actually, and that's how they're able to stop him and save the children, and everybody's happy and the day is saved. Really, really, really cool movie. If you haven't seen it, I hope you get a chance to watch it, and if not, do it a rewatch because it's a really good movie. So let's talk a little bit about the special effects, all right, because that's the cool part. Mostly that, like, there were puppets and electric, machines kind of doing things. And also Godzilla is a suit that took 2 months to make, actually. And they had lots of weird things they had to deal with, like the water and the fire and explosions and all these kinds of things. But it's really effective. It has such a quirkiness to it that I don't think any other films I know have. And Mothra was also a suit too. Mothra is really cool. And they use remote control and fans to move the wings and make it flap, which is really neat. And the web, the cocoon that they tie up Godzilla in, is actually made of liquid polystyrene, and it's shot out of this tiny opening to make it look like it's coming out of the larva to fly around. And as it dried, it was really hard apparently to clean because it hardened up really, really well, but it looks so cool. And the weird movement of Godzilla and Mothra was done at different film speeds to give it that look, sort of like a stop motion look. They would also shoot a scene with a bunch of different cameras at different angles, put it all together to give it that look of the animals fighting or the monsters fighting, or Godzilla being stuck in a net, that kind of thing. The egg, when it was hatching, was obviously a big styrofoam egg, but it was still really cool seeing them come out. And they'd use this giant pool to do the waves to make it look like the water was kind of stormy. And this film was really well received, of course, and the whole series has like such a massive following. I'm sure you've watched one of them in your day. If you haven't, you really need to. Another one of these films I recommend is Invasion of Astro Monster from 1965. It's really good. It's one of my favorites. So for my review, I got to give this 5 out of 5 shark bites because it's that good. Like I said, if you haven't seen it before, go watch some of these films. Watch this one to start. It's a good one. And if not, give it a rewatch because they're fun. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up because it helps me out a lot. And subscribe to the channel for more movie reviews like this. Lots more coming up. And interviews and that kind of thing. And also, come back on Saturday, tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Pacific time, 10 p.m. Eastern time, to watch another episode of Spirits and Screams. We're going live, me, Nye, and Daniella, Curly Girl at the Movies, and Movie Badness. We're going live again, and we're going to talk about crazy animals in horror movies. I'm really excited. We're just going to hang out and have some drinks and chit-chat and whatnot. We'll answer all your questions. We'd love to have you there. Okay guys, make sure you go check out the other Final Girls of Horror's reviews of this film. They're going to be incredible too. Really looking forward to doing the next one because these are fun. Monster movies are really fun to review. Well, I hope you guys have a great rest of your night, and I will see you again tomorrow night, hopefully, or soon. Bye guys!